Chapter 17. Mary. "Oh, I can see it all in my head," said Mr. Butterfield suddenly. "I have to work while I can picture it." As he worked, Mr. Butterfield went on with the story, even though no one had asked him to. Mary was a good girl. Everyone said so. In fact, people probably never spoke about her at all, because gossips are only interested in people's faults and mistakes, and Mary did nothing wrong. She was promised in marriage to the local carpenter, Joseph. The idea pleased her, because it pleased everyone else, and happiness made Mary happy. It was a warm day, a low sun. The olive trees wore capes of light. The herbs between her fingers gave off a dizzying fragrance. The figure in white, striding along the roadway, reflected the sun so brightly as to dazzle Mary. "Greetings, Mary," he said. "But don't be afraid. God holds you in his mind and in his heart. I have news for you." Mary did not jump up or run into the house. She simply greeted the stranger. "The Lord God has chosen you, Mary, to give birth to a son. You must call him Jesus." Mary did not faint or laugh, though her face grew paler. "How can that be? I'm not even married." "Mary, you're the most blessed woman alive. God's Spirit will overshadow you. He will entrust you with his own Son," said the angel, "if you are willing." Mary did not protest or cry. She did not speak of the shame her family would feel, the things Joseph would say. She simply lowered her head. "Let it be as God wishes," was all she said. Then the angel was gone, and so was Mary's good name. "What's wrong with the name Mary?" asked the boy. "It's a perfectly good name." "Her reputation, I mean," said Mr. Butterfield. "Mary's reputation is gone. After all, who's going to marry a girl who's already expecting someone else's baby? And who's going to believe a girl who says she's been talking to an angel?" "Joseph must have," suggested the boy. "Must he indeed? Must he?" said Mr. Butterfield, with an "I know better" sort of look. "If you think that, you're quite mistaken." Expecting a child? Joseph was appalled. That spotless, devout, modest young girl everyone spoke so well of was expecting a child? The girl he was supposed to marry? Well, not anymore. Joseph's chisel dug into the wood he was carving as if he were cutting Mary out of his life. No marriage for him. "A wife like that you can do without," said his mother that evening, wagging her head, wagging her hands. Then Joseph had a dream. It cut into his sleep like the teeth of a saw, it was so real. It burned through his closed eyelids and blinded him, it was so bright. "Don't be afraid to marry Mary," said the angel in his dream. "She has done nothing wrong. The child inside her was placed there by God. He trusts her, and so should you. Mary, Mary." The dream trickled out of Joseph's head like sawdust from a lathe, but the joy and fear remained. Joseph lay on his bed, staring at the ceiling. He would marry Mary, a woman more perfect than he had even realized. But now, of course, she would never be entirely his, for first and foremost, she and the child inside her belonged to God. And what a responsibility! To raise and clothe and feed and educate the Son of God? A tall order for a simple village carpenter. Joseph was late opening his workshop that morning. So he was a carpenter, just like you, said the boy. Oh, no, lad, said Mr. Butterfield, with a sad little smile. Nothing like me. For one thing, he had a son to look after, didn't he?